Soggy Minot is where I spend my time these days. I called it the Soggy Minot because everything in Star Wars is called, the Millennium Falcon, the Ebon Hawk, but I wanted something that was a little more pedestrian. This is a dingy basement, so it shouldn't have a lofty name. It should be called something a little gross. So in the Star Wars universe, Minocs are almost like rats with wings, or like pigeons that suck onto the side of a spaceship like a suckerfish. So I called this place the Soggy Minot because I thought it conveyed that idea of it being kind of a dingy, rundown bar. I wanted it to be, as soon as you walk in the room, as soon as you walk through that sliding door, this should be like no other room you've been in your entire life. I want it to be the experience when you're in a lineup for a ride at Disney World, right? You're immersed in the world immediately. There were a couple of reasons why I decided to build this space this way. One was I lost my office when we had our second kid. We needed to use a second bedroom, so I had an office. I didn't have an office anymore, so I needed an office. But when I realized I was going to put it down in the basement, and then all of a sudden the government of Newfoundland and Labrador came out with this home renovation bonus, and I realized, I could do this renovation job that I've been dreaming about for years. I could do it now, and I get the government to pay 10 grand. So that's exactly what I did. I wanted to be able to have a room so that when people came over here, my friends come over to play poker and smoke cigars. Sometimes I even have clients over here for meetings. It's important, no matter what space bar you're in, that of course snacks are provided. So we provide snacks for all various species to make sure that they've got something edible. It might not taste good, but it's edible. We've got playing cards for everybody. You need to come to a place like this to gamble, of course. And you can't gamble without money, so we accept Imperial credits as well as ingots of Beskar in this place. I've poured a lot of time into the space building things, but I've put even more time into this space sort of dreaming about it. It's taken me a couple years with the help of some contractors to build the space, but I've been thinking about this for decades. This has been sort of an imagination work in progress for years and years and years. I said to somebody when they asked me, how'd you come up with all this? I said, because I've been living in this place my entire life. I had the logo designed by a local graphic designer, Mike Pinn, who did a fantastic job making this sort of bat algae sucker thing called a Minot to go along with the logo. And everywhere around here I have the Imperial language, which is called Arabesh. So if you understood the language, you'd see the secret messages that I have painted all around here. This is a find that I'm really proud of. This is an old X-ray reading machine that I've liberated from the health sciences dumpster that was being thrown out, and I repurposed it, I repainted it, and I stuck a 3D picture frame or a digital picture frame behind here to scroll through photographs of Star Wars spaceships. Star Wars is a really interesting thing for people to get excited about, and I think it speaks to Newfoundlanders and Labradorians more than anyone. Star Wars has this lived-in universe feel, right? There shouldn't be any different from sitting on board the Millennium Falcon and looking at all the knickknacks on the wall and sitting in Nan's kitchen and looking at the same thing, right? So there's kind of this real, unlike Star Trek or most other science fiction, that's sort of clean and sterile and sort of aloof and really hard to understand. Star Wars is really gritty and organic and feels like a place that you could walk into off the street. In my view, it's a much more sort of human science fiction that capitalizes on the fact that, look, whether we're in a spaceship or whether we're in a dory, people customize their spaces and they live in their spaces, and you're not going to have gleaming consoles, you're going to have dusty computer banks. And that's sort of the philosophy behind living in Star Wars.